Welcome again to Life at the Lake. Today we're joined by Maureen and Steve, who are sharing Tufton Pond with us today. Welcome, Maureen and Steve. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you, Mary Jane. Great to have you.
And then welcome. We're delighted to have you as a guest here and share our view.
Thank you. Well, today I just want to go over a couple of things that y'all might love about your view. It is spectacular. It is just beautiful. What are the favorite things that you have about this view?
I think the thing that intrigued us initially on day one is that it changes every single day. There aren't 2 days the same here. Spring is certainly dramatically different than fall. We've had ice completely over the pond, and just recently we had the fishing group here from the Kids Fishing Day. One of our really fun days here is watching the kids catch their first fish. And you can hear it all the way across the pond as they shriek, "I've got one, I've got one, I've got one. Now what do I do with it?" A lot of things happen here. Actually, we've had the fire department here.
Really?
And they practice their various skills as they suck water out of the pond, pump it into their tower truck, their ladder truck, and then they spray it back out over the pond, and they can actually reach the other side. On a really fun afternoon, if they're here at the right time, and they've been here a couple times then, the sun behind it actually makes for a beautiful rainbow. So they come up here, and actually they came up here in winter, dead of winter, when we had 4 inches of ice on the pond. They cut a hole out in the middle, and they did their rescue training on how to rescue people who have fallen through the ice.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic that they have the resources and the area to practice here on the pond.
I believe they practice their sourcing water out of the pond, spraying it over. They probably do that about once a month, and probably 4 or 5 times in the last 10 years they've done the ice rescue training up here. So they're ready for anything.
Now, Steve, what do you like in the mornings about your view?
The mornings around here are amazing. We face almost due west. So the sun comes up behind us, and the tops of the trees out here get the first sunlight. And as the sun works its way down the trees, there's a section close to us over here which is just absolutely loaded with turtles, because it's the first place in the morning where the sun hits. So they make their nests right along the edge of the pond over there. And it's not an exaggeration to say there are hundreds of them. You'll see the sun glistening on their back as they move around, but they lay their eggs there. And in spring, we'll have dozens and dozens and dozens of little tiny turtles paddling along the seawall here. And that's kind of fun too.
Now, in the evening, what is something that you love about the lake and view?
The reason it's called Sunset Court, my guess is someone saw the sunsets here. The sun, any night it's beautiful. Special nights, it is stunning. NBC 29 has used the background here with our sunsets a couple of times, and it can be just absolutely staggering. It's not just the sunset, it's that it reflects off the water, so you get twice the color.
Oh, my.
So it's really kind of cool.
Now, some event that happens on the pond, what is some of the events that are really wonderful for you?
We've had the Boy Scouts here one year, teaching canoeing and rowing. And one of the exercises is they actually flip the canoes and flip the rowboats, and they have to get back in and bail the boat out.
Well, it sounds like this is a real big training lake.
A lot of stuff goes on here. It probably isn't a weekend go by year-round that there aren't half a dozen people on the fishing pier or a dozen or more kayakers. We get a lot of kayakers because there's no wakes, there's no power boats on Tufton Pond.
That's kind of interesting. Now, I know when I drive by the pond, I see that water catcher. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
The outflow, I guess they normally would call it, the level of the lake is maintained by the height of the outflow. The deepest part of the lake is about 25 feet, I'm told. So that tower is about 25 feet off the bottom, and the water runs over the top of that, drops 25 feet, and then goes under the dam.
Steve, I see on the other side of the pond all the natural wooded area. What kind of critters do you get over that way?
Critters, we get every kind. We have a sizable herd of deer. We have raccoons, skunks, possums, squirrels galore, and they seem to change from one year to the next as to what they like. We had a beautiful arborvitae down here in the backyard for the first 4 or 5 years. The deer never touched it. Year 5 and year 6, they ate it to the ground. As Maureen said earlier, one of the things that they've taken a liking to in the last couple of years are the rhododendrons. And for the 5-10 years ahead of that, they haven't touched them. So their tastes are changing, or maybe it's a new crop of deer.
Steve, what's your favorite time at the pond?
I'm not sure we have a favorite time at the pond. Every day's different. The colors change, the light changes. There's always something to do here. But I think we had a favorite time when we walked in the front door. I've told many people that 5 steps in the front door, the house was sold. And that was 12 years ago. I think our favorite time has been every day since.
We're lucky that it didn't go to the developers earlier this year. You may have read a little bit about that in the Fluvanna Review. It's privately owned, and we really do appreciate it, the fact that we don't have neighbors on this side. Although the neighbors on the other side are fabulous people, and we really do enjoy sharing the pond with them.
Oh, you mentioned the wooded area next door.
Yes.
That really isn't Lake Monticello. It is privately owned. We have seen all kinds of wildlife over there. I think I mentioned they had a bear last week. We didn't see the bear, but he may be coming this way. Frequently we see an osprey. Occasionally we see an eagle. The eagle and the osprey are kind of winter visitors. I think the extra activity here in the summer, kayaks and everybody else, more activity probably chases them off.
Is this a bald eagle that you're seeing?
Yeah.
Regular bald eagle.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Well, the osprey and the eagle actually go fishing over here in the fishing pond. And it's an incredible thing to see them dive down in and get a fish.
Oh my goodness.
Something you don't see very often, but it's really cool when you do.
You mentioned morning and evening. Many mornings and evenings, the water here is so calm that it's without a ripple all the way across. And all of a sudden, there'll be ripples coming from one of the corners. And more times than not, it's a deer who's come down to drink. And you can just see their lap, 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 creating a ripple that comes out across the water.
Well, there's ripples other times when our river otter comes from one of the rivers back here and comes and plays around the dock as well. He's a sight to behold.
Oh, I'll bet. I'll bet. There's, like you say, never a dull moment. There's always something going on, and it's always so different.
Yep.
It's so lovely. That's wonderful. Maureen, I asked Steve what was some of his favorite times around the pond. What are some of your favorite times around the pond?
Well, I like both the mornings and the evenings because everything's so quiet. There's nothing better than sitting on the porch upstairs and watching some of the people either in kayaks or canoes floating by, or people out on the fishing pier fishing. It's just relaxing, but of course with a glass of wine in my hand.
Of course. Well, it leads itself to that. I can see that. That makes so much sense. And your views from your windows, every aspect of the house has a beautiful window to look out of. That's very nice.
Yeah, we haven't really had to do much to the house. The builder built it, lived here for a few years, but we did add solar a couple of years ago, and that's been a boon for us as far as our electric bills are concerned. We've got all afternoon sun that has helped us cut our bill in at least half, right?
More than half.
Wow.
Right now, our aqua water bill is more than our power bill. And that, we're proud of that.
Yes, well, that I can understand that. Well, and the vegetation around here, not only the wildlife behind you and the wooded areas, but you've done a beautiful job of your yard. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely stunning.
Well, thank you.
Now, Maureen, what do you do in the morning? Is that what happens in the morning for you out here?
Well, it's just very quiet, and it's beautiful, especially in the summertime before it gets too warm. That's why I like the mornings and the evenings better. It's just, I don't drink coffee, so I'm just out here with a bottle of water or just me in my bathrobe and just enjoying the quiet.
Well, I'm feeling this lovely breeze, and it seems like there would always be a breeze off the pond. Is that
Pretty much so. Yeah, pretty much. It's usually not terribly still around here, so the breeze helps it off a lot.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, thank you so much for sharing this beautiful view. It is wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having us today. We really appreciate it, and you have a lovely view.
Thank you.